Hello, let's paint New York City cityscape or skyline. This was requested by my nephew and he found this picture on Unsplash because it's very difficult and time consuming to draw all of the buildings. I've picked a few buildings and then I will draw some of these buildings. So a skyline is generally a silhouette of all of the buildings or mountains or anything that defines a particular town. So usually we pick the buildings that are very prominent in that particular city and then draw the buildings. So as soon as somebody looks at it, they can relate to it and say, oh, this one is New York City or LA or anything. Alright, so I don't know all of these buildings. I don't know what they're called, but I think this is the One Trade building probably, and there are several other buildings, but I'm going to pick a few and paint them. So one of the ways to draw is try to get a close-up, zoom in the picture to get the details. So this one looks like it's a pyramid shaped faces, and then there are a few rectangles. So let's see what we can do. Alright, so I've drawn the outline just to save some time. I didn't use a ruler or anything. I've just drawn it by hand, and I'm going to darken it with a pen. So this is almost going to be like an ink and wash. So I'm going to try and speed up this process, and then at the end I'll show you the painting, the drawing, so you can draw it yourself, right? This is just an impression of the building, so it won't look exactly like the building. I'll finish drawing the entire picture and I'll come back in a Alright, this entire drawing took me about half an hour. So either you can take a screenshot of this and draw it, or if it's too confusing, find a picture of New York City skyline on Unsplash or Pixabay and then try and find a few buildings to draw and replicate the painting. Alright, so I am going to draw, I'm going to paint the sky first. Use any blue you want. I'm going to paint a few clouds too. Just trying to avoid painting the buildings. And since this is not at the sunset, so I'm not going to make them a silhouette. Instead, I'm going to color all of the buildings. I'm going to use a synthetic brush and try to lift some of the paint away to form clouds. And then I'm going to use a paper towel to lift it up. Okay, just a few clouds. Now let's start painting the buildings. I'm going to look at the paint picture and try to match the colors as much as I can. So this building is light blue and gray. Darker up on the top, and it's a little lighter as we go down. I'm going to draw the windows for this particular building with a white gel pen. Use a thin brush. Okay. I should have waited for the sky to dry. That's all right. Okay, so that's the first building. Then I don't know what these two buildings are, but they have a turquoise green top. So I'm going to mix some blue and green and some white to make some turquoise or a teal color. let's try this. It's a little more green. It's almost like a dome. In the picture, this one looks a little lighter, but hopefully it'll dry lighter. We'll see. Otherwise, I'll add a little more white later. This entire building is gray, so I'm going to take some black and make gray by making it very watered down, or I can take Payne's gray too. All right, so now this is watered down. It has a pattern, windows. I'll paint that later. Now let me paint this. Later we'll add shadows to one side to make it look three-dimensional. Now this one is a dark blue, almost navy blue. If you have indigo, you can use that. I'm just going to mix some ultramarine blue and Payne's gray to make slightly darker. This one was reddish brown, almost like an Indian red. So I'm going to mix some scarlet red with some burnt sienna to make that kind of red, reddish brown. So that's what this building is. Okay, this building is also brown, so because I already have that color, I'm just going to paint this. And there's a building in front of it that is darker gray, so I'm just going to use darker gray to paint this. This building had a teal or turquoise green color, and the middle had brown, so I'm just going to paint the outer part first. This building is light blue, so I'm going to paint it light blue. This side I'm going to make it a little darker. This building is a gray color building, so I am going to take watered down Payne's gray. This building is also grayish color with some brown. I will paint the brown later. Okay. Alright, this building is darker, so I'll paint this dark blue by mixing blue with some Payne's gray. And these buildings look like a mixture of ochre yellow and burnt sienna. So reddish brown. If you have Indian red or light red, use that. Okay, this part was white and this one had a small piece of red. I think this is a crane.
This building had some brown.
Let's paint the water. Just adding some shadows. With some purple. Alright, I'm going to draw the windows with a white gel pen. If the gel pen does not stand out, you can use gouache, but this is easier. Some of these places I will add with black. Right, I'm going to speed this up and come back. Alright, I drew all of the windows with dots or rectangles or squares, white and black, and then if you want we can add some more shadow to one side. I'm just going to use a mixture of purple and gray. Alright, so this is a simplified version of a New York City skyline. You can add as much detail as you want, or just make it an impressionistic painting. Alright, that's it. Bye.